Welcome back. The state of Connecticut got a lot of national, even international attention in 2025. The word pizza is clearly connected to Connecticut in a way it's never been before. We can thank Anthony for that. The Chief Marketing Officer for the state of Connecticut is here looking ahead to tourism in 2026. Welcome. Happy New Year.
Thank you. Happy New Year, Eric. Thanks for having me on.
I'm happy to have you here. And 2025 maybe was the year of the pizza campaign in the state of Connecticut. So what was the goal of that campaign, and did it work how you envisioned it?
It exceeded our wildest dreams. So the goal of the campaign was to not only get Connecticut on the map for its pizza, but to get Connecticut back into the conversation nationally, whether it's on TV, in the newspapers, mostly though driving chatter online, and we accomplished all of that in spades.
And because some of that was, you put up a billboard in New York City saying our pizza was better,
Yes.
and you did some things like that kind of skunk poking a little bit, but getting some talking.
Correct. I mean, I don't know if you knew this, but Merriam-Webster's word of the year was rage bait. And so that's what we actually called our New York campaign, was rage bait. And it's certainly a moment of the time that we're having. But the fact of the matter is Connecticut has so many reasons to not be modest. That kind of modesty that comes with the Yankee identity. We have all these wonderful reasons to not be, especially when we're competing with Fortune 100 brands, content creators, other states, not to mention media personalities like yourself. So we got to get the news out there.
Well, one of the things that, we talk about the pizza campaign, but sort of highlighting those things, the TV ads did that. We see the signs at the borders on the highway, the
Yes.
basketball capital of the world, the pizza capital of the world. One of the things that was touted in a press release was that earned media impressions are up 841%. That sounds great. 800% is big. What does that mean, Anthony? And why, if I'm just someone home watching the show, do I care if our earned media impressions are up 841%?
So for the non-nerds of the world, the normal people, unlike myself, I get excited about this. But what this means for everybody is that means that it has been seen more than 841% more.
Like 30 million times.
Yes, so million? Try billion.
30 billion times.
32 billion times. And that's doesn't mean 32 billion people, because obviously that's more than the entire world's population throughout history. It means it's been that many times. So on average, every person in the world has seen it, 6, 7, 8 times. So it's a lot. So obviously the word is getting out there more and more, and what that does for us, brings more people to Connecticut, puts us more front of mind, gets the word out, brings them in, and hopefully they move here, they start a life here, they create a family here, and be part of what we have going on.
I want to talk to you about what's happening in 2026, but one of the things that's happening in 2026 is you're leaving. You're leaving state service. So you announced that at the end of last year. Why now, and what's the behind that decision?
Well, why not go out on top? Fortunately, we've been able to achieve our mission, change perceptions of Connecticut. That's what Governor Lamont set out when he appointed me to this role back in 2023. We've done that. But also, it's always good to go out on top. We just was honored by the Connecticut Restaurant Association as friend of the industry. I think we've done more for the state in terms of making sure people are feeling good about what's here. Fix the house so that way you can sell the house. And we're doing that. And in the year ahead, I'm going out and laying down my own shingle. So more to come in the coming weeks about what that's going to look like.
Now you'll be marketing yourself. Tell me about the campaigns going into the new year, though. What are some of the things? The 250th birthday of our country is part of that, but also just getting the buzz to continue, right?
Yeah, our team has done just an incredible job, and we are a sum of all parts. And so I'm fully confident that work is going to continue going forward. But just in the coming weeks, we've got some really exciting things happening. So first up, on the 13th, we are doing our Content Made event, which brings together content creators and businesses to learn how to work together, because they're all great ambassadors for who Connecticut is. On the 27th, this is the big initiative for the year going forward. We're launching CT Perks and Recreation. That is an incentive program for people to go out there and say all kinds of good things about Connecticut on social media. You go to a great pizzeria, take a picture, put it on social media, you get points. You go to a great museum, take a picture, put it on social, you get points. And with those points, you can redeem it at merchct.com for really unique, one-of-a-kind items. But more importantly, experiences that money literally and figuratively can't buy. Go have lunch with the governor at the Capitol. Go learn to shoot free throws with a UConn basketball player, things like that.
So if you do your part as a citizen of Connecticut to boast about the things that are happening here, you can redeem those points for some cool stuff.
Absolutely. Modern word of mouth marketing. That's the name of the game.
So
right
you're
now.
leaving, but you're deputizing the rest of us to do the work on your behalf.
I
like
love
this.
it. Everybody is going to be the next chief marketing officer of Connecticut.
You mentioned the Restaurant Association, and you were honored by them recently. Scott Dolch was here a couple of weeks ago, and he mentioned what he's mentioned before, and I know you know what's coming. He wants to see more spending on tourism, and he says New York, Massachusetts, they're outspending us, and he doesn't understand why, because there's so much great stuff here, and he's been outspoken on behalf of his members about that. In the role, do you wish there was more money, or do you think it could be put to good use if you had more resources, or if your successor has more resources?
You know, I've had this conversation with Governor Lamont and the administration numerous times. Yes, we have asked for more resources, and I also understand the need for fiscal modernism in order to actually maintain the progress we've made as a state. So regardless of where the administration lands on that, our team is ready to continue the momentum, keep it going forward with whatever resources we're given.
Now, when you announced last month that you were leaving, Dan Haar, who was just on in the last segment from CT Insider, wrote a column about your departure, and he told a story, and I hope you'll share it with our viewers. When you first got working on these campaigns, you were asked, what if Connecticut walked into a bar? Can you explain sort of, because I think it's a good look into your vision for the state.
So when we sat down with Cronin and Co. to rebrand the state, I said, look, there are these brand archetypes that exist. They're just basic personality archetypes out there. And they said, well, what if that person walked into a bar that, you know, what is Connecticut? And I said, oh man, best question ever. They walk into the room and they're not the most beautiful person in the room. The oxygen doesn't change immediately. But you start to talk to them, and you're just fascinated. They're interesting, they're smart, they're funny. And the more you talk, the more interested you become, and by the end of the night, you've fallen in love.
And so that was your goal, was to get people to have that conversation, maybe with the person who wasn't so striking up front, and find out that they might fall in love.
Amen. I moved here in 2021, didn't know a darn thing about Connecticut, and I have fallen in love after 5 years.
There you go. Well, a great ad, and as we said, you've deputized the rest of us now, coming up with this big event in a few weeks, to earn those points and do the work going forward. We'll miss having you. Hopefully, in whatever you do next, you'll come back and talk with us, and we appreciate you sharing all the successes before you depart state service. Anthony, thanks for being with us.
Thanks so much, Eric.